I am the living legend of hair loss, the true alpha male, and the modern day black beard. Let's check out a comment. Let's check one out from a faithful viewer named Andrew Moss. We're looking at a video called One of Two, Bald with Beard, Trying Just for Men, Mustache and Beard. The comment from our friend Andrew Moss, quote, "Now your hair has grown for a few days," which, by the way, in real time, it's been a solid week for me. It was exactly a week ago that I did the zero guard buzz cut, so arguably this is closer to a number one, in my opinion. He says, "Now that your hair has grown for a few days, you can see more stubble on it. That's a good look. You're not bald. You have a shaven head with a little bit of thinning going on." So I want to cut the comment right there, and let's just focus on that. Let's say this out loud. I recognize, absolutely undeniably, there's a difference between a bald head and a shaved head. Most of my viewers still have hair on top of their head. If anything, they're barely starting to recede, and they're obsessed by the fear that one day they might be bald. That's the majority of my viewership. Teenagers, guys in their 20s, paralyzed. Just like on Iron Man 1, which I finally saw for the first time tonight, where they have that little device that goes, and has a high-pitched sound that paralyzes them for 15 minutes. Paralyzed by the thought that one day they might be bald, which most men at one point will be. Most men, not all, but most. And so considering that, well, I don't need to look at the comment again, it's in my head. So some men truly are bald. They have no choice. Others choose to shave their head. Now what's interesting is sometimes the rest of the world doesn't know or care. Let me give you an example, and this will be its own video, but looking at Jeff Bridges in Iron Man 1, he's a guy that, despite being much older than me, I would argue has this hairline pretty similar to mine. But with a completely shaved head and the beard, if I didn't know better or pay better attention, I would just go ahead and assume that he was naturally bald on top. But then I was like, wait, that's Jeff Bridges, and he has a full head of hair, so that can't be the case. Now, granted, some people argue over full head of hair being, Norwood 2.5, which I am, whether or not Jeff Bridges is or not. But the fact that, but I can look at his stubble and see, either way, to the rest of the free world, it's a free head of hair. It's a full head of hair. So I want to close the video by pointing this out. My whole thing about, bald, bearded, and brave. Let's kind of tag this on to this concept. So ultimately, I would ask you, what's more brave? What's braver? I have an English degree, and I can't tell you right off the bat which is the real word. More brave or braver is probably braver. Which is more brave / braver? That you can still grow what everyone perceives as a full head of hair, and yet you choose to shave it all off? Or does it take more bravery to truly be balding and then shave it all off? That's ultimately the question. And the answer is it doesn't matter. The answer is the moment you take this Remington Shortcut Pro and you shave it all off, that's the moment you have tapped into that bravery. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you can grow hair or not. If you choose this path, even if temporary like me, let's face it, am I going to keep this look? No. This is something I'm doing right now. People love a character arc. People love to see the dynamics of that person changing over time, and it keeps things fresh. And I know that's part of what I'm doing. And granted, I'm doing this because ultimately I wanted to and I felt like it. Granted, I can't help but deny, let's just be real, subscribership, my ad revenue since I did this a week ago. That's, I'm not saying that's the reason I did it, but man, I'm not arguing with that. I don't mind at all. But ultimately, there is a difference between truly being bald versus shaving your head or buzzing it all off, even though you could grow hair. But ultimately, Nick Shell, the living legend of hair loss, says either way, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that you send out that, it's like the Batman, the bat signal. It's like broadcasting your masculinity. Who cares if you could still grow hair or not? Either way, what you don't see is hair up here, and what you do see is a beard down here, because I am broadcasting my masculinity, because that is much more attractive than Mr. Metrosexual, who maybe still has a perfect head of hair and those skinny jeans or whatever it is. But I say, women are actually more attracted to a masculine man who's confident and knows who he is, knows what he's good and bad at. I am Nick Shell. I am the living legend of hair loss, and your life will never be the same now that I showed up in your life. Your comments belong right here.